Hello and welcome into this week's ARCA Menard Series Rewind Show right here on Racing News Now. As always, I'm your host, Garth Allen. Thank you once again for joining me today. If this is your first time catching a Racing News Now video, we are currently in our hashtag Race to 1K. If you haven't subscribed already, please go down below, hit that button for me. It is free to do. The quicker we get to 1,000 subscribers, the quicker YouTube will let us do mobile live streaming, which will vastly improve both the quality and quantity of coverage that we are able to provide you when we are at the track covering these races for you. So, if you haven't subscribed already, please go down there and do that, and hit the bell while you're at it so you get your notifications and you don't miss a thing going forward from RNN. On today's ARCA Rewind Show, we are looking back at history, the first ARCA Menard Series race on the Daytona International Speedway road course. And for the most part, I don't think it lived up to a lot of people's expectations. We had some great side-by-side battles for the lead, but outside of that, the race got real strung out real quick, which personally I can't say I'm surprised by. I kind of expected that would be the case with this race. I think a lot of people expected a lot more chaos and carnage and entertainment out of this race, and it wasn't quite what I think a lot of people expected. That being said, the racing for the lead was fantastic. We got a superb battle for that lead right before the scheduled break in the middle of the race for pit stops, and then another battle for the lead with about 5 or 6 laps to go in the race. The entire race was run on rain tires. We backed this race up about 3 hours today because we had a very long lightning delay. We had a huge rainstorm that went through Daytona. Backed this race up for a long time. Finally got racing shortly after 8 p.m. and I think it was worth the wait. Again, the race got really strung out, so there wasn't a lot of battling throughout the pack. I mean, we had intervals as high as, at one point I mentioned on the watch party that Haley Deegan in 7th was a full minute off the lead at that point when she was running 7th. So we had gigantic intervals between cars in this race. But the racing for the lead and the racing on the initial start and the restart off of the break still were fantastic. And I think definitely made it worth the admission price or the track pass price or the MAV TV price or whatever, since there weren't actually fans there. This was the General Tire 128 laps, 101.1 miles around the 3.61 mile Daytona International Speedway road course in Daytona Beach, Florida. Only one caution flag in this race. That was the scheduled break at lap 15, and we only had 2 leaders in this race. Chandler Smith started from the pole but never led a single lap. He fell back very early on and actually spun very early on. I gotta say, his strategy coming into this race was a little strange. MAV TV played an interview with him right before the race where he said that he hadn't talked to anybody before this race about how to drive this track. He hadn't done any sim time or anything, but he still expected to win the race. And honestly, I think that came off a little cocky. It showed very early that he was not well prepared for this race. Spun on, it was either lap 1 or lap 2, very early in one of the horseshoes in the infield portion of the track, and barely made it back into the top 10 by the end of the race. Was not competitive in the slightest, and I think hopefully learned the lesson that he needs to prepare a little better for these races, I think, and not just assume that his raw talent is going to get him through in these races. I hope there's a lesson learned there for Chandler Smith, because this race did not go well for him, even after starting on the pole. That being said, 2 drivers spent a lot of time out front in this race. Ty Gibbs spent the most time out front. He took the lead on lap 1, drove away through that first half of the race before the break, but used his stuff up late in that first run, and Michael Self actually tracked him down from 8 or 9 seconds back. It was a pretty big interval in the mid portions of that first run. Tracked Ty Gibbs down and had a fantastic battle with him right before that caution flew, beating and banging through every single chicane, through the bus stop, shoving each other out of the way. That's the battling for the lead that I wanted to see. That was fantastic. Michael Self eventually did get the lead from Ty Gibbs just before they threw that caution, and then Gibbs retook the lead after that caution and drove away once again. But again, it seemed that he once again used his stuff up in that run, and with about 5 laps to go, Michael Self caught him again, retook the lead and drove away for his second ARCA Menard Series victory of 2020. Both of those coincidentally coming at Daytona International Speedway now, but on different configurations. This one being on the road course, and the first win of the season coming on the oval. Good bookend for Michael Self, being able to sweep Daytona this season, and just a fantastic win all around. I think a lot of us expected this. He's got a very big road racing background. He's been very adamant about wanting road courses back on the ARCA schedule. The first time now that he's been able to run a road course since he's been in the ARCA Menard Series, and you could just tell the raw talent there, the experience that he has on these road courses. It was very clear throughout a lot of this race that he really knew what he was doing. He spent a lot of time coaching other drivers on how to run road courses. It definitely helps to extend the championship lead. As you can see, Brett Holmes far down this list, and not a great day for Brett Holmes, so extending that championship lead back out just a bit for Michael Self. Ty Gibbs ended up in second. We got Sam Mayer on the results list in third. He actually had to step out of the car during that break in the middle of the race. Colin Brown got in the car and finished the race, as Sam Mayer had hurt his hand a few days ago in a Trans Am wreck. Made it to that middle caution in the race, but definitely hurt the hand a lot, and which I can't blame him for. You don't want to pit under green and lose all those spots for the driver change. You want to wait until that caution, but man, you could tell he was really in pain. Talking to Dave Reef there during that interview, that he probably went a little too long on that hand. Taylor Gray, an impressive run for Taylor Gray. First time on a road course in the ARCA Menard Series, and comes home with a fourth place finish. Will Rogers in the 17W came home in fifth. Rest of your top 10, Haley Deegan in sixth, Max McLaughlin seventh. Brett Holmes, a disappointing day for him, in eighth. Lost a little bit of ground in the championship battle. Chandler Smith finally rebounded to ninth at the end of the race. Took him a while to gradually make up those spots that he lost with that early spin. Parker Chase in the 22 for Chad Bryant Racing came home in 10th. He was as high as fifth at one point in this race. 10th not indicative of how Parker Chase ran in this race. 11th through 20th, Thad Moffitt spun once in this race, and one of the horseshoes finally got it corrected after that. Never really recovered from that. Finished in 11th through dollar. An absolutely abysmal day for him, as low as 15th at one point. Never did see the top 10 this entire race. Started in 10th, and that is the highest he was for this entire race. Just a terrible day for Drew Dollar. Ended up in the 12th position. Will Kimmel's first start of the season came home in the 13th position. Nick Igdalski spun a couple times in the infield portion of the course. Ended up in the 14th position in his start for Fast Track Racing. And you see the rest of the top 20 there. Final finisher in this race was Brian Dowza in the 21st position. Did not complete a lap in the 57 Chevy. So that is your results from the General Tire 100. If we have the post-race media Zoom call for you for the thoughts from the top finishers, we'll have it right here. In the meantime, though, we are working on a Michael Self interview. Should have that here in the next 24 to 48 hours. So even if we don't have any thoughts from your finishers here, you will get to hear from Michael Self here within the next couple of days. That is a guarantee. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at your point standings following this race. And again, Michael Self has really lengthened this lead now. It is back to 15 points over Brett Holmes. Holmes had cut it to 4 points coming into this race, and it's now widened just a bit once again. Still very manageable for Brett Holmes, as we still have a lot of races left in this season for him to cut into that lead, but definitely a little bit more breathing room now for Michael Self after this race. Drew Dollar and Haley Deegan tied for third, now 56 points off of the lead. It has definitely become a two-horse race as we have progressed through the season. It has definitely become the Michael Self and Brett Holmes championship fight. I really don't think either Drew Dollar or Haley Deegan will be able to get back into this championship battle at this point. And then, of course, Thad Moffitt there in fifth, now 92 points off of your points lead. But that's your point standings following the General Tire 100 from the Daytona International Speedway Road Course. And I believe that's going to do it for this ARCA Rewind show. ARCA East at Dover on Friday, 2 p.m. will be the next ARCA Menard Series action we will see. We will, of course, have a watch party for that. If you're not already hanging out in the watch parties, you need to be. We had a great one today for this race. Had a lot of interaction from all of you, which I really appreciate. we had a lot of fun watching that race together and seeing what Michael Self and Ty Gibbs did with each other, battling for that lead. If you're not hanging out in those watch parties, you need to be. Again, ARCA East at Dover on Friday will be the next one, so definitely come hang out with us for that one and watch the Dover action with us. Then will be a NASCAR Heat 5 stream as usual on Wednesday at 6 p.m. as we continue our career mode there, just starting into season 2, I believe. First season in Xfinity and second season in the trucks. So as we continue to progress through that career mode. So got lots of stuff coming up for you. Actually may have a one-off video for you this week. I got an idea for something I would like to do. Just need to get it scripted out and filmed and that kind of thing. So keep an eye out for something special coming up here this week as well. I think it is something you will enjoy if you are a fan of the ARCA Menard series. So that, I think, is going to do it for us. Thank you, as always, to our Patreon supporters, President Gambit and Regional Manager William Holmes. Thank you for your support, as always, of RNN. It is very much appreciated, as always. If you would like to be a patron of RNN, the link is down below in the description. Patreon.com/RacingNewsNow. Not required by any means, but it is definitely appreciated if you want to support us that way. So, at that, this has been the ARCA Menard Series Rewind Show. I'm Garth Allen for Racing News Now.